Hey friends, today's topic is creating a competitive PvP build using mostly tier 1 armor and whatever else is in your vault. I made a quick write-up, sorry for the flashbang. I have been logging my hours because I really dislike the portal progression slop and instead want to make all of my progression via something I find fun, which is PvP, and if you have a better build, PvP can be more fun. But if you do want to step into trials, this video is for you. You don't have to go for tier 5 armor before stepping into trials, although for a lot of you, it might be worth getting tier 5s before stepping into trials because you want multiple perks on your weapon. However, those who value their time and want to do other side hobbies, this is the video for you. So let's start off with my 6s loadouts. In 6s, I'm trying to get the health stat as high as possible, and I do not care about the super stat because I don't really use my super in 6s except to spite somebody who already solo supered me or something silly. I don't really use it to end a game mercy hard or drop a 70 bomb or something. It's just not interesting to me. So I don't put anything into super if possible. What health stat do you want? Somewhere between, I would say, 150 and 190. 200 is a little bit overkill with how the health and the shields move up at the same time. As for weapon meta, weapon stat, I think you're fine just continuing to use a Cremil's Dagger like last season, although there is something like this with 160-ish weapon stat, adaptive pulse rifle with elemental honing. All of this stacked together means a clean 2 burst, which is going to be way faster than a lot of other stuff in the sandbox, but you can look at the trade-off in this build. I only have 13 health, and I will just lose by attrition. When you run a build like this, you have to rat and catch someone completely off guard where they're not going to be making love to the wall, or you have to fully commit when you see a combo opportunity. What does that mean? With something like Wormhusk, this is going to be the Trials build I recommend. It means whenever your teammate takes that first peek and you know the enemies are a little blindsided, you have to full commit and know that you are going to turn 1 kill into 3. Whether that's 1 kill into a Reaper powerful attraction dodge, get all your Wormhusk health back, pick up a Devour Orb, then you 2-tap a player, maybe you hit them with the slug around a corner to keep them weak. You need to understand your kit like that to be able to play trials at a disadvantage. The key difference is in trials, you want a high super stat. Going over 100 doesn't matter, but I would say 70 is the minimum, but if you are going to do 70, you're not running Spec Blades. You're going to run something like the Big Tether. However, if you are on Spec Blades, might as well go to 100 because other people are also going to be at 100. Make sense? Alright, let's refer to the write-up now. For 6s, health plus a passive bonus. Passive bonus exotic being something like Knucklehead Radar, Stompies, Lucky Pants. Something that gives you a benefit for doing nothing special. And then a consistent weapon. Cremil's Dagger doesn't need the weapon stat to perform whatsoever, so therefore it's a consistent weapon. And then another one would be, I am going to teach you how to make these builds too in a second. Radiant Dance Machines, because a kill while you have your dodge charged gives you another dodge for free. Therefore, you don't actually need to spec into your class ability, which means you can spec into health. In this case, I have 158 health. Then I have a chest mod that gives me 30 extra health, which makes it almost like having max health after a kill. Get my Devour. As you know, last word, Radiant Dance Machines goes crazy in 6s. And I'm pretty sure I can probably go flawless in trials even with 67 super. I will just switch to Deadfall. If you do want to create this, I would put your ghost mod on Bulwark Armor. See, I have my little cute ambulance ghost. So that way, whenever I glance at it, I know it's always on Bulwark. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't even know if these ghost mods work. I felt like they just didn't do anything when I was farming. We're going to skip ahead a little bit and talk about the Bushido armor. You get this from the Portal Pinnacle Ops, and it is worth taking a slight detour to at least get a class item to use with your old armor. So what does this do? Final blows with a freshly drawn or reloaded weapons heal you, and it's somewhere between 40 and 50 health. Let me find the clip. So I'm dumping the SMG to 11 bullets, which is just enough to leave him like 1 HP. He 2-taps the other player. I get him 1 HP. I switch weapons. He gets the kill. And it takes 4 or 5 shots to finish. It took me 5 shots to kill you. So that's how you know it's between 40 and 50 health. That's a lot of health, especially when combined with picking up a Devour Orb and also Wormhusk Crown or something like that. You can completely reversal a team with this. Also, this works with bows because you always have to reload a bow to shoot a bow, etc. This can also be really strong with Dragon Shadow, since obviously you can just draw weapons faster. Same with Lucky Fans. Since this armor is so easy to get, I just recommend going for this set bonus, and then later down the line, you can combo this with the Crucible armor set bonus, which gives you a reload speed bonus for just getting kills. Kind of a match made in heaven. You can do something silly with like a Kill Clip Camille's Dagger, weapon stat, and then mixing both of those armor sets together with something like Speedloader Slacks or Dragon Shadow if you're looking for something fun. Okay, the next route for 6s is what I was talking about with the weapon stat. You just want to get a fast TTK and chain that for as many players as possible. Yellow number addiction, I get it. What else do we got here? For trials, that's the Wormhusk one. You want to, let me back up here. For the weapon stat, you want to go Gunner Armor. That's what you want to keep in your vault. Now for trials. Trials, you're going to have to mix the armor. Let me pull the other note out. I'm not going to edit this just because I want to get a video out for you. These are all the types of armor you can get. So as you can see, some combinations of stats are not possible. So you're going to have to just keep a bunch of armor in your vault until you have the build done. And then there's also some calculators that you can refer to see if a build's even possible. But I would just copy my homework here and not even worry about it. Another thing is if you're tanking your health stat, you can use something like Crimson, something like Rat King, Red Death, to get your health back from a kill, maybe heal clip on a solar weapon. I put the whole list right here. What else do we have? Suros Regime. Also noted the amount of weapon stat you need to be able to tip it. Crimson with 190 weapons and a Radiant dodge is a clean 2-burst, and I am going to go crazy with that in 6s. Suros Regime, if you dump it to the 20-second bullet remaining, it's just a 5-tap at 200 weapons. Red Death doesn't really change at all with the weapon stat or Radiant, even though you can use the seasonal artifact with the Fever and Chill to get Radiant on precision hits. It doesn't really change Red Death that much. With Red Death, you should almost always just be going for all headshots anyway. I want to mention Igneous Hammer. Mine is a dim glitch Igneous Hammer. It has Heal Clip and Golden Tricorn. Golden Tricorn is interesting because with that same artifact perk that makes you Radiant, you also proc Golden Tricorn at the same time. So then the next target, you should be able to 2-tap. But unfortunately, I think you need like 101 weapon stat, just slightly more than base damage. So I would just go 105 to be safe. In general, I would not trust a YouTuber's number on the screen. Just go into a private match, try to find a friend, and shoot them before, because you never know how the network works in this game. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, you had 200 weapon stat, even though you didn't. So trust me on that. Since Titan and Warlock does not have Wormhusk, you got to get creative here. You can substitute Wormhusk with Stag to get your Rift as much as possible. Astrocyte with the Secession Fragment, so you can make them volatile, pick up the kill, pick up the Void Breach that a volatile target makes, and get Devour off of that. You can use Secant Filaments to drop an Empowering Rift on the floor and get Devour. You can use Precious Scars and a Heal Clip weapon to act kind of like Red Death, or even use it with Red Death. You can use Mask of the Quiet One with a Void subclass to get Devour when you're critically wounded, OEM for an Overshield and healing when critically wounded, and Crest of Alpha Lupi to turn your thruster into essentially Wormhusk. So all of these are decent starter pack options, but I think out of all of them, Hunter just does it better. So I'm going to play Hunter when I play Trials. Now I will just very quickly show you how I would make a build in Dim, and I will see you in the next one. So loadouts, I'm going to go really slow here. Loadout optimizer. You're going to see this looks a little different than last season. If you have the coin, you can select Artifice right here, but I'm going to just select Exotic. Next, I'm going to select Wormhusk Crown. Now, because I'm using Wormhusk Crown, I want my class minimum 70, because that's like the old fastest it can be. Since I am using Hunter on Hunter, if your melee stat is 70 or above, you can use Gambler's Dodge away from your opponent and get your entire melee back. So if that's something you want to do, go 70 melee, or as close to it as you can get. If that's not something you care about, I also like Marksman's Dodge because it's just a faster cooldown. Okay. So I'm going to select Void, and it's going to have all the fragments I normally have on it, but let's just pick them ourselves real quick. I want to show you what it would look like if it was blank. So we just select Spectral Blades, Gambler's Dodge, Triple or Strafe, whatever you want, Snare Bomb. I like Suppressor because supers win games. But if you're playing with an organized team, the frequency and potency of scatters are really, really strong. I do want to try Void Spikes with like a higher grenade stat in the future. Then, because we just got that dodge change, I like Trapper's Ambush and Vanishing Step to give me more invises per match. But if you're playing on an organized team, Vanishing Step and On the Prowl go pretty crazy. I like Echo of Vigilance for an overshield. Then we're going to go Persistence for longer invis. Starvation, so when I pick up an orb, I get Devour. And Dilation, so when I crouch, I get a better radar. Gonna apply. Now I'm gonna go select mods. If you're unsure what weapon you're going to use, like you don't know if you're going to use a strand or a kinetic, I just like putting 3 kinetics right here to account for using any combination of energy weapon type or whatnot. I like fastball, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to do a kinetic dexterity and a kinetic reloader. I could also instead do a void dexterity or an arc dexterity depending on what energy weapon I'm using. So I'll pick Arc Dexterity in this case. For my chest piece, keep in mind that even on your helmets, the finder perks work. So if you have like heavy ammo finder or special ammo finder, whatever, these can work in PvP and give you more special ammo, where instead of killing 3 enemies per special brick, you only have to kill 2. However, in Trials is bugged right now, so it resets like every round or something like that. But I did want to mention that. In the same way, a reserve chest piece also kind of works the same way. So in this case, I'm going to do 1 unflinching kinetic and then 1 unflinching arc. On the boots, triple enhanced athletics because I like the strafe. But if you don't like the strafe, you're an MNK player, you want to slide all over the place. I like 1 recuperation. Then I also like 1 holster. And then the third is usually absolution, since it does the most for ability cooldowns. But since I am a console main now, enhanced athletics times 3 always, it's just locked in. Then the class item, double powerful attraction, 1 Reaper. Always what I'm going to do. So now that class ability is set at 70, we want our supers set at 100. Now, do I want the melee Gambler's Dodge? Yes, I do. We're going to set it minimum 70, maximum 77, something like that. So now we're kind of cooking with some fire. We don't actually care about the weapon stat, but in this case, it is close enough to get it over 100 if I wanted to go the Igneous Hammer route with Golden Tricorn and Heal Clip. So that is an option on this build. I'm probably still going to stick to Cramille's Dagger, so you can kind of see how this works, right? You're getting the picture here. Grenade is my least valuable stat, and if I want this to prioritize it the least, I can drag it all the way down. But like honestly, My eyes read it in this specific order, so I don't even care to do that. Let's see how high I could crank the weapon with this, just out of curiosity. Not exactly to the 150s, where I think some hand cannons can tip. So I just don't have enough weapon juice that it matters. So in this case, I'm going to try to bump the class ability to as close to 100 as I can get. And then you might be saying, well, how do you get the Bushido bonus? How do you lock that in? Unfortunately, there's no clean way to do that. I just kind of guess. You can type Bushido up here. And sometimes it works if you want to like lock in Bushido gauntlets or something like that. Sometimes it works. But I find the best way to do it is to just drag an excluded item until it updates. And if it's not the arms, like let's say it never updates a Bushido chest or legs, I'll clear it and then I'll start dragging chests to the excluded items until I see a Bushido set pop up. And if I don't see another Bushido armor pop up, I'm going to lower my minimums again, like this, and then I'm going to go through that process again of dragging all the arms to excluded, all the chests to excluded, until I see at least a Bushido class item, and then one of these 3 slots, a Bushido armor piece. Then I will get the Bushido bonus, which will make me more competitive in PvP. Sorry if this was a little disorganized. I did it off the top of my head because I want to get a stream in today. Thank you, friends, for watching, and I will see you in the next one.